Hello everybody, welcome back. It's Carol here at Oak House Journals, and oh my goodness, it's a horrible day here in the UK. It's lashing down with rain outside, really true British autumnal weather, not nice. So what better day for actually being indoors and doing a Margaret Miller collage. So that's what I'm going to do today, and as you can see, I'm going to do number 47. And I have to say, I absolutely love it when Marguerite gives us the opportunity in the prompts to look for something imaginary or fantasy or something out of the norm, or sci-fi even, because I love that genre, and that's what we've got today. So I'm in my element today. But taking the prompts in order, the first one is bells, and as you can see, I've got a couple of little images here of bells. These are like cowbells, and these are more or less Christmas bells, I think. The second prompt is something imaginary, so I've gone for this lovely, absolutely adorable little image of an imaginary creature or a fantasy creature. Love the peachy tones, but I love this moodiness that's in the background there. Just beautiful and so cute. So I'm going with that one. A dictionary page. I've got this one. I wanted one that said imaginary, but I couldn't find one, so I'm really going for this one that says crocus. I think that might be quite nice. I kind of imagine this little guy running around out in the woods. I know crocuses are more akin to spring than autumnal weather, but it doesn't matter. So the next prompt is a leaf or leaves. Now I've got loads of options for these. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use. I've got this little letterpress card. I've also got some leaves out of a magazine. So I'm thinking that one, that's fern leaves or fronds really. And then I've got this one which looks like olive leaves. And then I've also got these. Now you will have seen in a previous Margaret Miller collage that I was trying to use these, and I thought that they would work for a prompt that was smoky in terms of the colour tone. But for this one, I'm actually thinking leaves, because as you can see there's leaves at the bottom. So I've got a strip here that I cut off, and I also have this portion here which again got cut off the main page, and I might need that to extend this if I decide to use it. The next prompt, something that turns or spins. Well, I'm going for a clock part, and in particular the hands on a watch or clock or a timepiece. I've also got the moon phases up there, so they will spin round as appropriate. So I've got that. And finally, the bonus is a date. Well, I've got these lovely little washi stickers, very delicate, and I thought I could make use of one of those on my page. As you can see, I've got oodles and oodles here. So let's get started. Now, as much as I love that moody background, I'm going to do some fussy cutting of this little chap and also the bells. Where's the other image? Have I lost it? No, it's there. So I'm going to do some fussy cutting of these, and then I'll be back. So I've cut out my little creature, and there was a piece dangling down from his sleeve there, which is here. It was too fine for me to cut out, so I could glue that back on. But also there was a piece hanging down here from his ear, and that could be glued on there, or I could join that piece up and have it up there. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this little piece for the moment, so I'm going to pop it ahead of me and try and keep it safe. I've also cut out the string of Christmas bells and these cowbells, and as you can see, I've tried to leave a little bit of the handle there just to try and have it so that it looks like it is looped over my little creature's hand. So I want it to look something like that in a moment or two. And then I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this piece. That could hang from the other hand potentially, or I could just tuck it in behind the cowbells, or not use it at all. I could just use these if I wanted to. So I'm not quite sure which I'm going to use, but I've got those, and again I'm going to pop those ahead of me to keep those safe. I'm going to trim round this, I think, next, because I thought it would be quite good to have this behind my little guy, but I don't want it too obscured. I don't really want that handle showing, but I will need to have the hands showing. So I'm wondering whether or not to have it that way round, maybe make use of it a little bit higher up, almost framing the head. So that's one option. This I'm going to trim down a little bit because I think my little guy would look great on there and the colour tones are right, but I've got a bit too much of a white border. So I'm going to trim this down. I'm not quite sure whether I want this underneath and this on top like that, in which case it would be good to make use of this portion, as I said, the other offcut piece, because that acts as a really nice frame for it. And then have my little guy in here, maybe a little higher up, grounded on the text, and this slot in behind, but cut round there. So I could have it like that and then kind of make use of the leaves around here, maybe up there. Or I could make it a little bit more interesting and try doing some fussy cutting around these leaves and use this as my backdrop. I could almost leave that up there. So I could more or less have that tucked in the back there, just to give me a little bit more of the colour, and make use of fussy cutting this. And I think I'm going to do that. So the first thing I want to do is to cut round my watch or my clock part. So let's get that done. Now I'm going to cut round these leaf images. So I've cut out that corner, which I thought maybe I could have something like that. I have got a few little leaves left down here, which I might just put across there. So I'm going to cut this out as well. So I've done my fussy cutting of this piece, and it is actually 3 pieces. So I've got a corner piece here, and then I've got a little tiny bit there, a couple of leaves, which I thought I could just tuck underneath just to give a little bit of movement. And there is also this little piece here, and I thought that that little piece, if I could just hold it, that little piece could just tuck in there like that. I have got more leaves that I can use if I want to, but for now I'm quite happy with how that looks. So I'm going to leave that as is. Not sure if I'm going to leave this portion up here, but I've also got more leaves here that I could tuck in down the side here to add more interest. I could also put it across the top if I wanted to kind of balance it out. But for now, I'm just going to leave it. I've also got the rest of this that I could make use of. So I'm just going to hold that and see what this looks like slotted in there. And I could almost have a mini border, and I quite like that. Before I do anything else, I'm pretty happy with these bits that I've just cut out, these leaves. So I'm going to commit to gluing them down. Not liking that area there particularly, so I might go in with some more leaves and do something about that. This little one I was going to put down here, so let's get this one in. Let's have a look at this and see if I can make use of this. And as always, I have not done that straight. Honestly, I am useless. And how am I going to correct that now? The only way I can correct that is if I cut that off. So I'm going to do that. Honestly. really did want it to go higher up the side there. Which means I might need to make use of these leaves here. So I've got this portion cut out, and I've done a little bit of paper piecing with some of the bits. I've done a piece down here. This is a new piece, so these two are separate pieces. This is a separate piece and this is a separate piece. And as you can see, as always, I've not glued everything down to within an inch of its life because I want to slide things underneath. Probably might not have much movement there, but I might have a fair amount. And I'm going to make use of this piece. Now, I don't know whether to have it like this at the moment and create a little bit of a border. I think I might do, because I think it will frame this very nicely. And if I have it long on this side, then the leaves are lower on this side, so I think that will work. And where's my pencil? I'm thinking that I will just probably trim it off about there, down this edge. Let's bring in my little chap, and I think I'll have him something like this. I'm going to lift him up a little bit so that he looks like he's standing on the leaves. Bring in my clock behind, or my watch behind. If he comes over a little bit more, then my watch could just straddle that edge. I'm not liking that bit, so I could get rid of that. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to glue him in place. Certainly his feet in place. And hopefully he looks like he's standing on those leaves there. I'm going to trim away this. Just playing with this piece behind to see if it would work if I got rid of it down this side. I think it looks nice peeping out there. And I feel like that's working nicely actually. I have got this blank area up here, but for now I'm not too bothered about it. I think I can do something about that. Actually, what I think I will do is I will glue the back of this onto this paper here. Before I do anything else, I'm going to get these bells in place. I think they look a little bit more realistic. So I'm going to go with these bells here and glue these in place. I'm wondering whether I can make use of these. So as you can see, I've got two lots of bells hanging from my little chap's hand here. I've got some more leaves there that I can use if I want to. I'm not sure whether to or not at the moment. I've got a date to get in, and I've also got this little portion here to get in. So I'm going to hang that from his hand here. There is a line coming down here, so I could quite happily just hang it off his cuff there like that, which I think I will do. So I'm going to snip a portion off. Not sure what this is supposed to be, this bauble, but I've got it there. So with my date, I'm thinking of having it up here because that's an obvious blank space. Just wondering with the bits that I've got in front of me here, whether I actually want to put some other pieces along the bottom. makes it, that's nice, but it makes it a little bit bottom heavy. And there is a lot going on around there anyway. I could potentially take my flowers, my leaves higher up and make use of those. So I think I will do that. The other option was that I could use that underneath there. Thinking I might just add a little bit down there just to frame it. So I've done quite a lot of faffing with the leaves. I've got some extra little ones tucked in the bottom here. I've put an extra one in there. These are all loose leaves that I sectioned in, and similarly up here as well, just to try and bring the leaves up higher. I'm going to glue this now to my working background. So as always, I'm going to rub out my pencil lines before I glue it down. So let's quickly do that. So this is all glued down now, and the final piece that I need to get in is a date. So I'm going to use these washi stickers, and because they're quite thin, I'm going to use 2 of them, one on top of the other. So let me peel this one off. And luckily I've got the same date on another sheet that I can use. So that's my finished collage for this week. Let me pull in my prompts and go through those with you. So the first one was bells. So I've got my cowbells tucked in behind here and my Christmas bells hanging down there. And hopefully it looks like they're hanging from my little creature's hand. Something imaginary, well, that is my little creature here. A dictionary page, this one in the back here. A leaf or leaves. Well, I made a little bit of a collage with some paper pieced leaves all around my little corner area there, and as always I've not glued them all the way down so that I've got a little bit of movement. Something that turns or spins, well, I've got a clock face or a watch face in the back there, and the things that turn or spin are the hands. So you can just see one of the hands there and another one peeping out there. And then finally a date, and I went with 1st of December up there. So I quite like this little one, but then anything with an imaginary creature on it will float my boat. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed seeing this one come together, everybody. Thank you as always for joining me. I really appreciate your company. And as always, there's details in the link below the video to Margarete's channel if the collage challenge is new to you. And also there's some photographs at the end if you want to have a look and see what I've done in more detail. Until next week, everybody, bye bye now. Have a great week.